Hi, Nick Robinson here. This is video 5 in my program, Overcoming the 7 Self-Limits. Here we're looking at raising awareness of self-doubt as the first step in overcoming it. We all have a collection of mental self-limits that put unconscious restrictions on what we say and how we behave. And most of the time they're useful. They're essentially about keeping us safe. But the problem is that this process doesn't always work out the way it should. Self-doubt is a good example of those problems. It's when our confidence in ourselves is too shaky. And by too shaky, I mean that our self-doubt has gone beyond the point where it's a useful check or a helpful balance and is now actually getting in the way of things that are important to us. One thing that my years of coaching all kinds of people has taught me is that everyone has their version of self-doubt. Self-doubt is a natural part of our experience. And the point of this program is to overcome the negative parts of our self-limits, to take what's useful from them and to make sure that they don't have control over us. And without doing that work, consciously or even unconsciously, the self-limits will restrict what we can achieve and hold us back from having rich and fulfilling lives and work. Please remember to like, subscribe and to follow this series and to look out for the sign-up link to my group coaching course if you want to go further. Let's start with noticing the impact. Self-doubt is like a kind of soft stop. Its impact is to softly hold you back from doing something that's important to you. Like you can almost reach out and grasp the nettle and do that scary thing, or almost have that difficult conversation, or almost make that tough decision, but not quite. The impact of self-doubt is that we hesitate. We put things off and procrastinate. We know that there's something important that we want or need to do, but we avoid it. We don't set goals, we don't finish things, we turn away. And the second part of raising awareness around self-doubt is learning to recognize the inner dialogue. This is the little voice inside our heads that speaks our self-doubt to us or whispers them in our ear. It'll say things like, "I can't do that. I won't be able to cope with that." Or, "I couldn't deal with what might happen." Or, "It'll be too difficult for me to handle." And some of us, me included, talk to ourselves in the second person. So my inner voice says things like, "You can't successfully do that kind of thing, Nick." Or, "Nick, be careful. You won't be able to cope with that." And the third part of raising our awareness around self-doubt is to practice recognizing the feelings and emotions that go with it. And those feelings are often centered around different kinds of anxiety. The sense of being uneasy or apprehensive, of being worried or feeling insecure. People talk about having a knot in their stomach, or they say it feels like having a weight on their chest. And one of the reasons we don't always face our self-doubts is that the feelings I've just mentioned are sometimes difficult to be with. So when you're doing this work, it can be a little bit triggering. Remember to breathe when you're doing it. You can use the pattern of in, hold and out, counting 1, 2, 3 each time. Something like this. And if you need to, shake off any residue of those feelings. All right? Remember, you are not your self-doubt. You're smarter than you think, you're stronger than you feel, and you are much more resourceful than you imagine. Good work. So there are some exercises for you to practice coming on the screen in a second. And in the next video, we'll begin analysing why self-doubt happens. And that will help us to take what's useful from it and know what to leave behind. Don't worry about getting any of this stuff right in the meantime. Do the practice. Use those 3 steps to raise awareness. Look out for the impact, listen for the dialogue, recognize the emotions. And that's how to overcome self-doubt and each of the 7 self-limits. My name is Nick Robinson and I help people to deal with challenging situations at work. Please remember to like, subscribe and to follow this series and to look out for the sign-up link to my group coaching course if you want to go further. See you next time.